In progress.
So hello, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Firatun and School and Academy Foundation Level Batch 10. Today I will ask some questions from girls.
Hey there, what's up?
Can I ask you some questions?
Go for it. I'm all ears. What's on your mind?
My first question is what
I'm ready
exactly
when you are.
what exactly are micro habits?
Basically, they're the cheat code version of habits. Instead of trying to overhaul your whole life overnight, you shrink a goal down to something so ridiculously small it's almost impossible to fail. Like instead of working out for an hour, a micro habit is just doing one single push up. It's all about hacking your brain to get started without the stress. Do you have something specific you're trying to start?
Okay.
Caught you
So
by
my
surprise?
next
Fish.
question is why are small micro habits so powerful?
It's all about the momentum. Your brain usually freaks out when you try to make a massive change. It sees it as a threat or a chore. But a micro habit is so tiny it sneaks past those defenses. Once you actually do that one push up or write one sentence, you've already won the hardest part, starting. That little win gives you a hit of dopamine, which makes you actually want to do it again tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You got another one for me, or are we just vibing with the concept for a second?
Okay, my next question is how are micro habits difficult from a normal habits?
I think you might mean how they help your normal habits, but if you're asking if they make things harder, they don't. They're basically the scaffolding for the bigger stuff. They don't compete with your normal habits. They just lower the barrier to entry so you actually stick with them. It's like the difference between trying to climb a mountain in one jump versus just taking one step. You're still going to the same place, just without the panic attack. Does that make sense?
Can you give me 5 examples of using micro habits for a student?
For sure. Here are a few that don't feel like a chore. First, instead of studying for 3 hours, just open your textbook to the right page. That's it. Second, if you have a massive essay, just write one sentence. Third, spend 2 minutes reviewing your notes right after a class. Fourth, clear one single item off your desk before you start working. And fifth, read just one paragraph of a required reading before bed. It's all about getting the engine running without stalling. Which one of those sounds the least annoying to actually try?
Okay. How does it, no, how does doing something for just 2 minutes helps?
It's a psychological trick. The hardest part of any task is its transition, that moment where you move from doing nothing to doing the thing. That's where the mental resistance is the strongest. By telling yourself it's only 2 minutes, you trick your brain into thinking the task is trivial, so you don't feel that wall of dread. Once you're actually in motion, the friction disappears, and usually you'll find you're happy to keep going. It's way easier to keep a car moving than it is to start it from a dead stop. You know what I'm saying?
Why do people often fail when they are trying to build a big habit?
I'm guessing you mean open hell as in making things a total nightmare for themselves. People do that because we're wired to think that massive results require massive suffering. There's this idea that if it isn't grueling, it isn't working. So they go from 0 to 100, try to change 10 things at once, and then just burn out in a week because they treated their life like a boot camp instead of a build. It's basically the opposite of the micro habit vibe. Ever tried to go all in on something only to hit a wall a few days later?
Okay.
You're keeping it short with me today.
How long does it usually take for a small habit to become an automatic?
The old school answer is, but honestly, that's kind of a myth. Real research shows it's way more varied. For some people, it's a few weeks. For others, it can take a couple of months, depending on how complex the habit is. The key isn't the number of days, it's just how consistently you show up. You just got to keep the streak alive until your brain stops asking, do I want to do this? And just starts doing it. You're trying to track a specific streak right now?
Okay.
Fair enough.
What's the best micro habit for improving and conversation?
I think you might be asking about the best habit for growing your knowledge and your conversation skills. If that's the case, the best micro habit is just asking one curious question a day, whether it's to a friend, a stranger, or even just wondering why something is the way it is. Well, it keeps your brain open and makes you way more interesting to talk to because you're actually engaged with the world. Plus, it's low pressure. Does that hit the mark, or were you thinking of something else?
Okay.
You're on a roll with the.
How can micro habits help with a student? Oh,
We touched on this a bit with those 5 examples, but the real magic for a student is how it kills the procrastination loop. Most students get paralyzed by the size of the project, so they just scroll on their phone for 3 hours instead. Micro habits break that paralysis. It turns a scary I have to study for finals into I'm just going to read one header. Once you've done that, the mental weight lifts and you're actually in the zone. It basically turns the school grind into a series of tiny wins. You feel like you're actually making progress instead of just drowning in a to do list. Want to try and map out a micro habit for a class you're actually struggling with?
okay, thank you. Allah
Anytime.
Hafiz.